Hello folks, welcome back to the channel and thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, as recently promised, a couple of book reviews, not very in-depth ones because I haven't had the time to read these books, but I can tell you that we've got two brilliantly detailed resource reference books. One is for Inside the Stealth Bomber by Motorbooks Colour Tech by Bill Sweetman. This is actually, I'm not sure it's readily available in the UK, this one, because I have a feeling this has been imported. It's actually printed in Hong Kong. The second one is about the development of the X-15, the hypersonic rocket plane, which of course was travelled at 5 times the speed of sound, making it hypersonic, and the rest. In fact, it was 4,500 miles an hour thereabouts. Quite a remarkable aircraft and very, very instrumental in helping the development of the space race. So in fact, I think we'll look at this one first. I'm not the greatest expert on the X-15, so you have to forgive me, but all this is to do really is to give you a flavour of what's involved in the book. I've got to say, this one is huge. It's nearly 300 pages and it's a really chunky, quite heavy, full-on resource. So I'm going to zoom you in without further ado and let you have a look for yourselves. I won't say all that much because, yeah, as I say, I'm not the greatest expert on the subject, if I'm honest, but there is some truly fantastic photographs, diagrams, references, historical anecdotes and histories of some of the people involved in the project, development of the engines, and of course this was just the most astonishing program and led to, directly led to the Apollo program, frankly. So much was learned about high performance aircraft and spacecraft and the aerodynamics, etc. that were needed. Starts off talking about the Bell X-1, which was the forerunner of the X-15, of course, and then it gets into all the other various developments down the years, the different designs and concepts and the models that were produced. Some of them were really, for wind tunnelling, and others were for aerodynamic balance and all this kind of thing. Different re-entry concepts. Just going to kill the light a bit because I think we're getting a bit too much reflection. There we go. Yeah, and it just goes on with all these hand-drawn diagrams, different concepts in terms of the seating arrangement. Because it was going to be a 2-seater. I'm pretty sure it ended up as a single-seater, didn't it? I think it did. As I say, I'm not an expert on the X-15. I'm sure you guys in the States are much more up to speed on this. It's also a little bit before my time, in fairness, as well, so forgive me for my ignorance. Talking about the various testing that was done over in Nevada, dry lakes testing. I mean, you have to be brave to participate in some of this work because it's just, everything is an experiment, you're never sure. It's trial and error, isn't it? A lot of it, you don't have the computer modelling that they have today, so quite a lot of it is putting a finger in the air and hoping for the best, based on what little knowledge they had, but they didn't have that much knowledge, of course, with these sort of performance aircraft. Here it says the F-104 starfighters did more than just operate as chase aircraft. This has a ventral rudder on its centerline station. Preparation for a test of the parachute recovery system. So they're using these various aircraft they have at their disposal, NASA, as R&D ships, for testing all sorts of concepts and componentry. Here we go, David Clark, his precious suit, one of the pilots. This is when they had their right stuff, that's for sure. And you had to be pretty brave to be taking off in one of these and going up to nearly 5,000 miles an hour. Wow. Nice colour schemes, all the different schemes. Temperature sensitive paint, they're testing different paints here. I know that some of them had ablative white paint, didn't they? But then they decided that the black was better. Because of course it goes into space effectively, into the edge of space, this one. So, yeah, gets a lot of sun rays, so I think they decided black was probably best. But it's an amazing book. I mean, it's almost like you feel that there's every photograph ever taken is probably here, Yeah, Jack McKay, he's the guy that had a really bad time. He left skid failed untouched down, the aircraft turned upside down, just in the canopy to ensure he would get out of the plane after it stopped. But the result was his head hitting the lake bed, causing him serious injuries. Yeah, he died. They say the accident contributed to McKay's death. He died later in 1975, but he was aged 52, and it was almost certainly as a result of the injuries he sustained. It was quite a nasty accident. Very dangerous things they are. Very dangerous. I mean, accidents were not uncommon at all. And they're testing also the equipment in terms of spacesuits and things. Look at it touching down here. Look at that one. It's a good photo, isn't it? Well, it's rear skids. It's quite crude, isn't it, really? It almost reminds me of the introduction to the $6 Million Man with Steve Austin crashing his test re-entry vehicle. Yeah, I mean, it's just a wonderful resource, this book, I've got to say. Some lovely photographs, very high quality printing, all the damage that ensued from various tests. Look at this one, what's happened here? This looks like a disaster. This looks like a proper disaster. This is not a good one. Tragedy before the end, there we go. Oh dear, one of them went into an inverted dive and then broke up because it exceeded the load limits of the airframe. Master caution alarm. They've actually got footage of the actual instrument panel. They can see which alarms are going off. Oh dear. Lateral acceleration -3g. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Major Michael J. Adams in the cockpit. Yeah, I think he's the guy who sadly lost his life. Well, one of a number, I think, in the project, wasn't it? Yeah, it's grim. Very dangerous things. Mike Adams on Rogers Dry Lake. Adams' name in 1991 was added. Adams' name in 1991 was added to the memorial at the Kennedy Space Center. Yeah, it's a very tricky business, is this? Anyway, sorry, I'm starting to read instead of talking to you and entertaining you. So, it's a remarkable book. There's no question about it. Some incredible footage, liquid oxygen, technical descriptions, full data about the layout. You know, how they conceptualised the mechanisms for the parachutes and so many things. Testing the nose. The nose ball was going to get very hot, it says. Actually testing it in front of a jet engine, can you see that? Oops. These top left two photographs, it's the nose ball, and they are testing it in front of the jet engine exhaust. Good gracious, that's incredible. It's an excellent book, beautiful. Now I'm not sure how much this one's retailing for. It says here on the back that it's imported into the UK and Europe by Midland Publishing. It's actually printed in China. It's a surprisingly nice quality product for a Chinese printing, I must say. Certainly better than the Chinese kit instructions that we're used to. But you know my views on that already. And then it goes into all the technical specs and things and dates at the back. Some remarkable footage. Yeah. Absolutely astonishing, to be honest. Really, really impressive book. No question about it. So if you're one of the modelers who's perhaps building an X-15 model, this is definitely worth getting. It'll leave you in no doubts about almost anything really regarding the X-15 project. And obviously a lot of guys lost their lives, and it's quite a good tribute to them as well, I think. Anyway, the other one is this stealth bomber, the B-2 Spirit. This is a little bit smaller, but just as interesting our adventure. Let's bring you in for this. See what you think when you have a nosy at this one. B-2 Spirit, look at this. Inside the stealth bomber. All sorts of weird prototypes. The whale. They wanted to have this whale cockpit, this big cockpit, to have plenty of room. And of course then they had all these other developments like the YF-23 from Northrop, which sadly got rejected, didn't it, in favour of the YF-22, the Raptor, as the stealth aircraft for the USA. Bomber from Northrop. Of course they're known for their fighters, aren't they? And then it's got all of the sort of concepts and ideas that, you know, the German Horten, you can see here where my thumb is, the HO9, and then of course you've got the B1, the swing wing bomber, and it talks about all the original concepts, and then the secrets of how they developed it, all the testing that was done. It is a truly remarkable plane, there's no doubt about it. It's just almost unearthly, isn't it? Like an alien spacecraft, really. So, what they're basically saying is, in terms of the design, it's completely fly-by-wire, computer controlled, you know. There's no traditional instruments hardly at all. I can just see two dials, and everything else seems to be electronic. Computer screens. And of course this aircraft was used, wasn't it, in Kosovo, and the Gulf War in 2003. Not quite as many photographs in this as there are in the X-15 book, but then there won't be with it because it was top secret for years. And a lot of it was kept under wraps, so I think taking pictures of this was a bit of a no-no at one point. Shows it here. Let's say there. Removal of the external coatings. A non-toxic stripping medium that wouldn't damage the skin was used. Gosh. I wonder what that was. They're not going to tell us, are they? Huh. Remarkable. There we go, dropping its payload. Zoom in a bit more. Look at this, all the different weapons. GBU-37. Big old weapon, isn't it? You know, they've got the various JDAMs, bunker busting bombs. Very much used in the operation against Iraq in 2003. Shows here the bomb bay, and it has this. It's like a carousel system, isn't it? Rotating carousel for the bombs. There it is. You can see it better there. I'll zoom in a bit. So about the reflection, it's very glossy paper. There we go. It's a nice book, yeah. Some interesting photographs I've not seen before, if I'm honest. Especially that one, where you can see the whole line of them. It's at Guam, I think. Because they've been used in the Pacific, helping to defend Guam, and here we have it with two F-117 Nighthawks. What remarkable planes there really are, these stealth aircraft, eh? Yeah, there we go. So it's a nice book. I think that if you want to build one of these B-2 Spirits, of course I did the we had the review of the Model Collect B-2 Spirit, which I think was 172, wasn't it, from memory, which was a very nice kit. It's somewhat unusual in some of the the ways it went together I wasn't too sure about, but the quality of the actual moulding was very good. Can highly recommend that one. So that's, as I say, it's coming from, printed in China. So it's actually printed in Hong Kong, this one, so I beg your pardon. MBI is the publishing company. If I zoom you in, there's a UPC code here, a barcode, which you might find useful. If you want to get the book, here it is. If you want to take just freeze the image with the pause button, and there's your code if you want to get yourself a copy. Well, I have to say, it's quite good fun looking at something so unusual, stealthy, and very secret. Of course, it was for many years. Anyway, I hope you found those two books interesting. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, give us a 10 out of 10. I think actually in terms of the books, I think the Hypersonic one is truly remarkable. I think that's a definite 10 out of 10. I think the Stealth Bomb one perhaps only a 9 out of 10 because there's not quite as much of it, and it's a little bit sparse with the photographs relative to the other one. But as I say, it was a secret plane, so maybe that's why. So both good books too. I think you definitely find them very helpful resources. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed already, you want to see more similar content, models, history, books, etc. And if you have subscribed, don't forget to ding that notification bell, smash that like button, and I hope to see you again in the very near future. In the meantime, look after yourselves, take care, and bye for now.